Hey there, and welcome back to the Handmade Shop Podcast. Today's episode is one of my absolute favorite year-end rituals, and it's something that most Etsy sellers never do. We are going to do your Etsy data debrief for 2025. Now, I do not want you to worry. It's not a boring spreadsheet. It is not something that's going to take you a very long time. You do not have to be a numbers person. I know that's a great stress for a lot of you when it comes to diving into your stats. This is definitely also not about judging yourself for what did not go perfectly this year. It's about learning from the year that you just had so you can make 2026 what you want it to be, whether that's calmer, whether that's more profitable, whether that's more intentional, whatever it might be, because your shop is always giving you clues, but you rarely slow down long enough to look at them and just keep guessing because it feels easier. But when you're guessing, you waste time fixing the wrong things, you're chasing trends, you're just spinning your wheels all the time trying to grow instead of looking at your stats to figure out what will actually work the fastest. So today I'm walking you through a really simple, powerful Etsy data debrief. You can do this in about 30 minutes. There's no spreadsheets required. There's not a lot of numbers required. So I want you to make some time today to sit down and do this. So let's dive in. Let me show you what we're actually going to be doing in your time here today. Okay. Step one, super easy. Let's just look at your traffic sources. The first thing we want to do is look, where did your views and your visits actually come from? So inside your shop stats, look at the last 12 months and click into the traffic sources section. Ask what percentage of your traffic came from Etsy search or the Etsy app, what came from social media, direct links, or ads, and what sources grew this year compared to last year. And here's why all of this really matters. If Etsy search is a big traffic driver, for example, it tells you your keywords are doing something right. And especially if that has grown compared to last year, your Etsy app traffic or Etsy search traffic, that tells you that you are getting found in searches. It might not be to the level you want, but if you're starting somewhere, that's what we want, right? Now, I don't want you to confuse this with Etsy marketing and SEO because that's what Etsy does for its SEO. You don't have control over that. You have control over Etsy search and the Etsy app traffic, okay? The next example is social media. If social media didn't bring you any views, it tells you that you might need to reevaluate how much time you're spending there. If you're spending a lot of time on Instagram and you look and your Instagram traffic is like 3 visits, we want to rethink that. We're not looking here for good numbers or bad numbers. We're just looking at patterns. What's working? What's not? Where are you wasting energy? Where could you spend a little more time and get even better results? Step 2 is to identify your top listings. Now that we know where your traffic is coming from, we're going to zoom in on what is actually driving it, what specific products, what specific listings. So in your shop stats, you want to sort by the most views or the most orders, and then ask yourself these questions. 1, which listings got the most traffic? 2, which ones had the highest conversion rate? And 3, are they seasonal, evergreen, or are they all tied to a specific keyword? After that, we're going to go one layer deeper. What do all of these listings have in common? Are they using a keyword phrase in a certain order? Do they share a specific photo style, a product type, or a buyer benefit? This is where we start to understand what Etsy is actually rewarding in your shop, what they think you're important for, what they're showing you for, and what your audience actually wants from you, right? Because chances are there is some pattern to your top performers that you can replicate. So that way you can build faster with consistency because you're focusing on what's already working. It makes it so much easier to grow. Step 3 is to spot the gaps and the leaks. So we're going to talk about the other end of your stats, which is your low performers. Do not skip this step just because it's less fun, because this is important too. These things are often time wasters. They're often money wasters. And if you want to be more profitable and make more sales faster, you have to address them. So we're going to look at the listings that got a lot of views or visits, but few orders or no orders at all. You're going to look at listings that had high favorites, but maybe low conversions. You're going to look at the listings that fell off in the last 3 to 6 months after previously performing well, because there are clues in all of these situations too. Listing with high traffic, but no orders, or a low conversion rate is how we can put it, might have some mismatched keywords. You might be getting found for something that's not converting for you. it might be confusing to buyers. So maybe your variations are confusing, or the way that you use your personalization box is confusing. You might have some photos that are not really inspiring trust in buyers if they're dark or blurry, or they're not showing the whole product. Your descriptions might be too long or too hard to read or too confusing. It might just be a disconnect between what buyers expected when they clicked and what they saw when they got into your listing. That can come from shipping prices too, right? This does not mean the product is bad. It just means something in the listing is not translating really clearly. They're fixable things, but you have to have some insight into it. And especially now, because it can make the work you're doing in the new year so much more strategic, because you are solving your actual problems and not just randomly throwing stuff up in your Etsy shop all over the place. Step 4 is to choose just 3 insights to act on. So after you go through all of these things, you've looked at your traffic, you've looked at your bestsellers, you've looked at your underperformers, I want you just to pull out 3 clear takeaways that you can fix. We're not going to get a million things done in January coming off of the end of the year and Black Friday and the holidays. Just 3 insights that are going to shape your strategy moving into 2026. So here are a few examples I have for you. If you are struggling with coming up with some insights like this, you might have a best-selling listing and maybe you notice, hey, this is the only listing that has lifestyle photos and the thumbnail. So you decide to update all the others to match. Maybe you used a photographer or an influencer, or you got some nice photos on your own. Implement that. You might have noticed that your SEO, your Etsy search traffic, your Etsy app traffic worked really well for you in Q1 and Q2, but then dropped off for the second half of the year. So your action from that would be to review keywords for your top listings and see if they were expected to do that, or if you lost some rankings. You might notice for our last example that maybe some products that you love the most are getting the least amount of traction. So you will put on your action list to decide whether you're going to refine them or retire them. If you need help with making that decision, go to the last episode because I talk about that there. All right, that's it. I want you to use those 3 insights to guide where you are spending your time next, because when you are working from your own actual data like this, not from trends or pressure or from a feeling of desperation and overworking and hustling, you're going to grow so much smarter and so much faster. So your challenge for today is to set a 30-minute timer. Right now, stop, open your phone, set a timer for 30 minutes. Open your shop stats and walk through this debrief while it's all still fresh. Trust me, it is going to change how you approach 2026. If you need help turning this debrief that we've just done into a real sustainable plan for 2026, I want you to DM me on Instagram with what you learned after doing this exercise. We will review your shop's performance together and build a custom visibility strategy based off your strengths and your goals. You're going to find the link for my Instagram in the description of this episode, or it's Sarah J. Wagner if you are searching on Instagram. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.